Hello and a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning in to News 9 Live. The Galwan trigger, that's the question that we're asking and trying to decode and understand. Because India's borders and how we guard our borders, these are some things people in the military sphere or the foreign diplomacy spheres often talk about. How much successive governments have done for the far-flung and remote areas is also a parameter of judging how important foreign policy and action is to a ruling dispensation. Here, the elephant in the room is in the shape of a dragon, and the Indo-China relations and the sour taste it has been leaving is nothing new, especially for Indians. Now, the China looming on India and Prime Minister Modi's rising stature in the South Pacific is also a plus point for Team India. But the Galwan clash 3 years ago has really come as a shock. And from a stray and aloof perspective on border development, today things are a tad bit different. India has doubled the speed of road and border area development, 100% increase in about 2 years if statistics were to be believed. And let me tell you, building roads and infrastructure at 16,000, 17,000, 18,000 feet and the geographical challenges the Himalayan region comes with is no easy task. Against the Chinese topography, fairly easy to build on a plateau, and that is exactly why India is playing catch-up with China. But better late than never. Umling La, the Siom Bridge, the Sela Tunnel, and the Vibrant Villages program are examples of how India is spearheading its focused border infrastructure development. And to speak more on it, well, who better than Lieutenant General Rajiv Chaudhary, VSM, who's also the Director General for Border Roads. A very warm welcome on the broadcast to you, Lieutenant General. Lieutenant General, I'm going to have to ask you to stay on with us, wait patiently as you have been for just a couple of more minutes, because News 9 Plus has come up with this documentary. It's called The Galwan Trigger, India's Mammoth Infrastructure Push at the Border Regions. Lieutenant General Chaudhary was on that particular documentary as a talking head. Take a look at this snippet. You can download the application from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. It has other incisive analysis and cutting-edge documentaries as well. But for this time around, the Galwan Trigger, take a look at this small little snippet. You'll get an idea of what we're essentially going to be talking about. Lieutenant General, do stay on with us. Bridges, roads, and tunnels. This is how India is countering China's Himalayan challenge. The Himalayas, world's tallest mountains, snow covered through the year. Breathing is tough here, but the work never stops. 3 years after the deadly Galwan clashes, India has doubled the pace of infrastructure creation on the border. India's Border Road Organization is accomplishing mission impossible, creating infrastructure to secure us from our foes across the Himalayas. And we start at a disadvantage when we want to deter the dragon. For India, it's an uphill task, even as the enemy is perched comfortably on a plateau.
We are on the Himalayas. From zero, you are going up to a level of say 16,000 feet, 17,000 feet, 18,000 feet above sea level. Our passes are even higher than that. Our posts are even higher than that. Look at China. They don't have to climb up like us. Once they are on the Tibetan plateau, the construction work, the maintenance work, everything is fairly easy.
On 5th May 2020, Indian and Chinese troops eyeballed each other in Ladakh. This was after PLA troops had tried to intrude into Indian territory. The conflict escalated and ended with 20 Indian soldiers being martyred in Galwan.
Galwan was the deadliest skirmish between India and China in 45 years. India responded by building border infrastructure on a war footing, roads to India's borders have doubled in the last 3 years. These roads allow faster movement of troops, supplies, and vehicles to the border.
Of course, due to Galwan, there was a strategic compulsion to increase the pace of infrastructure. That was the main trigger.
This picturesque highway, snaking up the mountains, is Umlingla, the world's highest motorable road at 19,024 feet. 52 kilometers long, it connects Chishumle village to Demchok in Ladakh, just 16 kilometers from the line of actual control. In the last 3 years, the BRO has built many such roads.
5-7 years back, the average roads what we are making was approximately 600 kilometers per year, which was not very good figure. But last 3-4 years, we have increased it to 1200 kilometers per year. So it is doubled. And this year we made 1263 kilometers of road. And next year it should be 1600 kilometers of road.
To enhance last mile connectivity along the LAC, there has been a record increase in budget for border roads.
Till 2 years back, BRO used to get approximately 1,500 to 2,000 crores, and it was 2,500 crores in the year 2021 for making roads for army. Government gave us 3,500 crores in year 22-23, and this year they have allocated 5,000 crores, which is a 100% jump in last 2 years. I can only tell you that this year the increase or the jump is about 45% more. That is massive. 5 years back, the total budget consumed by BRO was 4,500. Today, this year on 31st March, we were able to consume 12,317 crores. So there is a jump of 300% in just 5 years.
Siom Bridge is the first steel arch bridge made by the Border Roads Organization. It is strategically very important because it connects Pasighat to Tooting and forward areas in Arunachal Pradesh. It enables fast movement of troops. Tooting is just 30 to 35 kilometers from the LAC. It's a Class 70 bridge, which means it can carry any load class vehicles, including heavy military vehicles and equipment. Well, so you can catch that documentary and a lot of other documentaries only on the News9 Plus application. Circling back to that exclusive conversation with Lieutenant General Rajiv Chaudhary, VSM Director General for Border Roads. Sir, some really nice visuals that have been used in the documentary. You yourself have given out the right kind of numbers, really put it out there for people to consume, how much money is being pumped into the border infrastructure. But before we talk about the Umlingla, before we talk about Siom Bridge, before we talk about the Sela Tunnel, all other advanced technology-infused border infrastructure that we are building, help the viewers understand right at the beginning how difficult it is to build something like a tunnel, build something like a highway or like a proper road at 16,000, 17,000 feet. What are some of the challenges, something like the border roads, the government, the border roads organization, what do they have to go through? I mean, you've got the seismic tension. There are so many other factors involved as well.
You have said it right yourself. The roads in plains and roads in mountains are two different activities together. And when we make roads in mountains, firstly, there's no passage for the traffic. You have to contend with the normal traffic of the locals, the tourists and the army. And more than that, when we make roads at altitudes of 14,000, 15,000 or maybe 19,000, where Umlingla was made, the atmospheric pressure reduces to 50%, the oxygen level goes to 45%, and the Umlingla, as you mentioned twice, is even higher than the Siachen Glacier. It is even higher than both the base camps of Mount Everest. And people used to bleed through their noses, and it also causes a lot of temporary physical problems when you are working at that kind of a height. And not only humans, it also affects the efficiency of the machines. They also start working at a efficiency of 40% or maximum 50%. So it was a big challenge to make road at Umlingla, and such like roads are being made now also when we are speaking. Alternate connectivity to DBO and CDFD road in Ladakh, they are all above 17,000 or 18,000 feet. So we face a lot of physical challenges caused due to the terrain and the weather, and also the machine problems. If any breakage is there, breakdown is there, then you have to immediately either replace the machine or maybe do the repair on site. So all these challenges make making roads in the mountains very, very difficult.
Well, absolutely. That's quite eloquently put. Now, Lieutenant General, coming to my next question, which is that, you know, across the documentary, it has been put forth that we had the erstwhile Defense Minister A.K. Anthony on the documentary. He's on record for saying that, you know, we've for so many years, you know, had such an aloof perspective towards the border regions. We feel like if we develop the border roads, the first thing China is going to do is use those roads itself to come in and attack us, you know, in a scenario of a war. But today things seem to be a little different. What has made that change, you know, turn into a reality? What do you think is the reason behind that? You see all the other developed nations, their borders are spick and span, they're quite proper, and we don't have our you know, army personnel going to the border regions only at a time of a calamity or at a time of a problem. They're stationed there in all those developed nations. Our army people are properly stationed all across the borders. What do you think has acted as a catalyst in this change?
You see, you mentioned about ex-defense minister, how the thinking was there about the roads being made on the forward locations, especially on the borders, northern borders.
Right.
But with the present government of the day, the thinking has really taken a 180-degree change. The inflection point was 2015 or 16, when we started thinking differently on making roads on the borders. And today we are making roads on the borders, and to connect all the posts and the villages which have been isolated or remote villages, what you have also showing now on your visuals. So this thinking has really changed the methods and our techniques to make roads and connect all these remote villages and the army posts which were not connected earlier.
Right, and even as we talk about playing a second fiddle to China, playing catch-up with China, it seems like India is taking the right kind of steps. The Union Home Minister Amit Shah, he was at, you know, far-flung remote areas in Arunachal. The Vibrant Villages program, something that India is doing to counter the, you know, the kind of villages that are coming on the Chinese side of the LAC. Why do you think India is still catching up with China, and how soon will we be at a, you know, sort of like a level playing field with China when it comes to infrastructure development, particularly in the border areas, Lieutenant General?
There's a major push by the government on infrastructure development on our northern borders. Honorable Home Minister himself was there at Kibitu, the first village on the eastern side, on 10th April, and he announced the first phase of Vibrant Village Package 662 villages. Such villages will be coming up very soon, and out of that 441 will be in Arunachal itself. So it's a total shift in the attention as we say now. Actually, we are acting east, and we are making that thing connected, which were not there. Government has also announced the frontier highway in Arunachal, which will be connecting all along the LAC, all the villages and the posts, important posts through the intervalleys which have been there in Arunachal. So there is a major infrastructure push in forward locations all along the northern borders.
To create an all-weather tunnel, Lieutenant General, you know, I mean, really simply put, for the viewers out there as well who are joining us on our stream right now, to cut an entire mammoth structure like a mountain, to cut a tunnel from, right from the middle of it, requires the right kind of scientific acumen and the right kind of modern technology available and at disposable. Where do you think India stands at that point? The kind of machinery we are using. I mean, some visuals of those, really large-scale, hefty machinery and earth movers that can be seen in the documentary. In terms of technological advancements, do you think India is right there when we're looking at infrastructure development?
We are not only right there, we are much ahead of the world today when we talk about the tunnels, as you just mentioned. Tunnels are the essential infrastructure component to make inter-valley connectivity feasible. As I talked to you 60 years back when BRO started making roads on the forward locations, in last 60 years we have been able to make only 4 tunnels. Today when we are talking, we are working on 12 tunnels. So you can understand the major shift in the thinking about the tunnels, and where we are making tunnels is absolutely unimaginable. In Western countries, the highest mountains are Alps, and Alps Mount Blanc is 15,700 feet. We are going to make Shinkulla tunnel, which has just been announced on 15th February by the government at Shinkulla, which is at 16,700 feet. When this tunnel will be completed, it will be the highest tunnel in the world at 15,855. Sela tunnel is nearing completion, what you are showing on your screens. Sela tunnel is going to be the highest twin tube tunnel in the world when it is completed next month. So we are the front runner in tunnels in the mountains today. And it is unmatchable experience what we have got behind us. And there are 8 tunnels which are going to start very soon. Maybe some of the tunnels will be starting next year. So the world is coming to India very soon to understand how we are making tunnels, and so fast, and the kind of machinery and the kind of technology what we are using in making these tunnels, what we are talking about is extraordinary.
Right. The importance of the Galwan clash, Lieutenant General. I mean, I know it is an unfortunate incident. We lost 20 of our brave hearts. But do you think that particular skirmish has acted as a catalyst in India's new viewpoint towards the border infrastructure development?
No, I will not say it acted as a catalyst, but government from the day one, when it took over the reins of the country in 2014, has been totally focusing upon the infrastructure on the borders. Earlier, BRO used to be under control of MORTH. In 2015, there was a major policy change, and BRO was placed under MOD, because BRO was an essential component of making roads for the army, which was deployed on borders, and it was felt that it should be under MOD. So since then, the output of BRO has been increasing every year, and today, as you just shown, in last 2-3 years, the output has increased by 200-300% as compared to earlier years. So it is not, Galwan was not a real catalyst. It is the thinking which changed, the shift in the ideology of connecting our northern borders and all along the LAC, which has given this push to infrastructure development all along the borders.
All right. So the Umlingla, the Siom Bridge, these are class 70 bridges. Can you throw some light on that, Lieutenant General? What exactly, I mean, for the benefit of the layman viewer out there, what is the class 70 bridge? How is it different from your normal bridge?
In last 2 years, government and BRO has taken a decision, conscious decision, that all our bridges hereafter will be class 70. Now, bridges come from, class 9, 12, 18, 24, as per the load of the vehicles which have to go over the bridges. And class 70 is the last classification which can take on any load, including tanks, heavy guns, heavy machinery, multi-axle vehicles. So class 70 bridge is not the weak link in a road. It is the ultimate strength of the road, and any of our armament which has to go forward for strengthening our security metrics can cross over the class 70 bridges. So all our bridges henceforth will be class 70, and we have given it a major push to replace all our weak bridges with the class 70 bridges, and we are working very fast on this.
All right. Lieutenant General, just a couple of last set of questions. When we're looking at how last mile connectivity can be bettered for the armed forces in the years to come, I mean, in the documentary, you're on record saying that the last 5-6 years, there is a magnanimous change in how our viewpoint towards border infrastructure has completely changed. But in the next coming 5-6 years, how do you think the last mile connectivity, especially for the armed forces, can be bettered further?
I'll just give you one indicator or example.
Right.
On 22nd October 22, Honorable Prime Minister decided to come to Mana. Mana is the first village, as he called that day, to inaugurate two of the major strategic roads himself, from Mana to Mana Pass and from Joshimath to Malari. And that shows the intent of the government when Honorable Prime Minister himself comes to a place and he stayed with us in that lowest detachment of BRO, and how important it is for him to do the shilanyas of these two roads. And such like roads are now increasing by the day, and in next 5 years, I think the differential which has been existing in our minds, firstly, and also on the borders, is going to be bridged, and there will not be any parity. The kind of push and the budget which is being given by Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable Raksha Mantri, wherever he goes, he talks about the good work of BRO in connecting these remote places, not only for the armed forces, but also for the local population. There are villages which have not been connected to its tehsil or district, like Huri in Arunachal, which he gave example, and Honorable Prime Minister just very recently tweeted about this village where reverse migration has started because of BRO making a road till Huri, which had a population of 200, which dropped to 49 since last 2 years back. But today the population has increased to 300. There is a school which has come up. There is a primary health center which has come up. So, and the roads are going ahead of Buri. So, such like examples like in Jolingong, Demchok, and the southernmost part of the country in Campbell Bay, Indra Point has been connected to Shastri Nagar. So, such like examples which are being connected by the BRO are living testament of the intent of the government, and in next 5 years there will be a revolutionary changes in the way we are making roads. The new technology is being infused in making roads, in tunnels, in bridges, in airfields. Government has just announced the construction of airfield at Neoma, which is going to be one of the highest airfield, which is in Ladakh at 14,000 feet or so. So there is a commendable change which is going to be happening in next.
Lieutenant General, if I could butt in, and my apologies for interjecting here. When we're talking about development means people are again going to start coming up to these far-flung areas. Remote villages that are quote-unquote considered dead are trying to be revived now. But with the revival of these villages, it means that, you just spoke about a new school coming up. A new school means a lot more traffic as well. A lot more traffic means putting more burden on these, small slip roads. Do you think we can afford to put that kind of burden? Are our roads well versed with the kind of load that's coming their way?
When we make a road, it is meant for, as I told you about the weakest link in a road is a bridge. So when we are making the bridges as class 70, so the roads also will take on any kind of load which comes on the road. And let me also tell you, road is the backbone of all the development. When the road comes, the communication comes, the electricity comes, the water comes, the education comes, the tourism comes. So everything mounts on the road. And roads, when connected to the remotest villages, all the development is reaching those people which were denied this development, and the central government schemes were not reaching these people. Unfortunate part was today they are connected through the road, so there is a law and order. There's no government governance actually on these places. Today, when we connect these roads, the central government schemes, the state government schemes are reaching the last man on the first villages which are we call in Kibitu, Lamang, Geling, TCC, Taksing, all these villages which are there, Jolingong, Damchok, the central government is able to reach out to these people who are left out of the development which is taking place in the plains.
Right. Now, at a more geopolitical front, Lieutenant General, the G20 summit, it's happening in Srinagar. The G7 just happened. Prime Minister is in Australia. He's been bestowed upon with the highest civilian awards in Papua New Guinea and Fiji as well. So even as the dragon is looming, India's rising stature in the South Pacific is no news for anybody. But at the same time, all across our border infrastructure development, the idea is that the Chinese have a slight advantage over here. Firstly, we're a little late to the game. Secondly, the topography is not necessarily on our side here, Lieutenant General. Is that only the case? Is topography and geography the only challenge for India, or is there more to it here?
You said it actually, the Chinese side is on a plateau, and Tibetan plateau makes it that much easier for any construction of the roads or bridges or tunnels. But in our case, we have to go from the plains to upwards to the Himalayan heights, and Himalayan mountains are very young mountains. They are fragile. It becomes difficult to reach up to the passes what we man. Like today, we have reached the pass of Umlingla. Very soon, we are going to surpass this pass also, and we are going to reach those heights which will be very dominating over adversary on the northern side. So we are not behind. We are much ahead of that, despite our terrain and weather challenges, and our thinking which has shifted totally, as you shown in your clipping about the previous government's thinking about development on the northern borders. But today, government is thinking differently. So there is, in fact, I will in a different manner. I'll say we are much ahead as we have been thinking actually.
All right. So if we were to start this competition afresh from a clean slate, the Lieutenant General in an exclusive conversation with us telling us that we might be pegged to be a little ahead than China with the kind of developments that we are in fact taking up. The pace of development has doubled pretty much 100% in the last 2 years in terms of the budgetary allocations for the BRO. It is an uphill task, but India is getting there. Lieutenant General Rajiv Chaudhary, all I can say right now is that kudos to you, the Border Roads Organization, to your entire team, the way with which border infrastructure is being done. It's absolutely commendable. All I can do is give you a grand old salute, sir. That's all I have for you right now. Many thanks for joining us here on News 9.
Thank you very much. I must also, on behalf of all the Karamyogis of BRO, as I call them, who are doing selfless work on these difficult places. They are unsung heroes, and they are connecting all the people who live on these borders, and all the ghost villages which were there. They have started getting populated again. So I thank you for giving this visibility to BRO, and of course I also thank the government of the day. I also thank Honorable Raksha Mantri, Honorable Prime Minister, who have reposed trust and faith in BRO, which was not there earlier. Today BRO is one of the shining organization of the country, and it is as Honorable Raksha Mantri says, it is not brought to the people, it is not brought to the security forces, it is brought to the nation. So we would like to live up to the expectations of the country, the government, and the security forces. Thank
Absolutely,
you very much.
sir.
Not
True brothers to the nation, true brothers to the nation. Many thanks for joining with us. Lieutenant General Rajiv Chaudhary, VSM, Director General for Border Roads. Many thanks for joining with us. Well, so that was the exclusive conversation with the Director General. Needless to say, what the DG here was talking about as well. Roads move, and later on, capitalist reflex, commercialization, economical development follows. This time around here, unfortunately for Robert Frost, not taking the road, or the road not taken, is certainly not an option over here. Needless to say, all Indians can be proud of the border infra push that is happening on all fronts, not just Arunachal, not just Ladakh, not just our border with Pakistan. It's happening at an all-inclusive pace. 100% increase in budgetary allocations just in the last 2 years, from Umlingla all weather tunnels to a Siom bridge, a class 70 bridge that can carry your tanks, your heavy armament. It seems it's safe to say that India is certainly getting there. We're all out of time right now, but before we go, again, a short snippet of that documentary. Again, going to urge all the viewers out there to download the News 9 Plus application. It's on your Apple App Store, it's on your Google Play Store for all other incisive analysis and cutting-edge documentaries. The Galwan Trigger, India's Mammoth Border Infra Push. That documentary is on air, streaming on the application. Here's a snippet. That's all from me, Kabir Naqvi, signing off for News9 Live. Bridges, roads, and tunnels. This is how India is countering China's Himalayan challenge. The Himalayas, world's tallest mountains, snow-covered through the year, breathing is tough here. But the work never stops. 3 years after the deadly Galwan clashes, India has doubled the pace of infrastructure creation on the border. India's Border Road Organization is accomplishing mission impossible, creating infrastructure to secure us from our foes across the Himalayas. And we start at a disadvantage when we want to deter the dragon. For India, it's an uphill task, even as the enemy is perched comfortably on a plateau.
We are on the Himalayas. From zero, you are going up to a level of say 16,000 feet, 17,000 feet, 18,000 feet above sea level. Our passes are even higher than that. Our posts are even higher than that. Look at China. They don't have to climb up like us. Once they are on the Tibetan plateau, the construction work, the maintenance work, everything is fairly easy.
On 5th May 2020, Indian and Chinese troops eyeballed each other in Ladakh. This was after PLA troops had tried to intrude into Indian territory. The conflict escalated and ended with 20 Indian soldiers being martyred in Galwan.
Galwan was the deadliest skirmish between India and China in 45 years. India responded by building border infrastructure on a war footing. Roads to India's borders have doubled in the last 3 years. These roads allow faster movement of troops, supplies, and vehicles to the border.
Of course, due to Galwan, there was a strategic compulsion to increase the pace of infrastructure. That was the main trigger.
This picturesque highway, snaking up the mountains, is Umlingla, the world's highest motorable road at 19,024 feet. 52 kilometers long, it connects Chishumle village to Demchok in Ladakh, just 16 kilometers from the line of actual control. In the last 3 years, the BRO has built many such roads.
5-7 years back, the average roads what we are making was approximately 600 kilometers per year, which was not very good figure. But last 3-4 years, we have increased it to 1200 kilometers per year. So it is doubled. And this year we made 1263 kilometers of road. And next year it should be 1600 kilometers of road.
To enhance last mile connectivity along the LAC, there has been a record increase in budget for border roads.
Till 2 years back, BRO used to get approximately 1,500 to 2,000 crores, and it was 2,500 crores in the year 2021 for making roads for army. Government gave us 3,500 crores in year 22-23, and this year they have allocated 5,000 crores, which is a 100% jump in last 2 years.
I can only tell you that this year the increase or the jump is about 45% more. That is massive.
5 years back, the total budget consumed by BRO was 4,500. Today, this year on 31st March, we were able to consume 12,317 crores. So there is a jump of 300% in just 5 years.
Seom Bridge is the first steel arch bridge made by the Border Roads Organization. It is strategically very important because it connects Pasighat to Tooting and forward areas in Arunachal Pradesh. It enables fast movement of troops. Tooting is just 30 to 35 kilometers from the LAC. It's a Class 70 bridge, which means it can carry any load class vehicles, including heavy military vehicles and equipment.